My name's Matt, and this happened during the summer after my freshman year of college. I was 19, home for break, and spending most of my time with my girlfriend Kelly. It was one of those humid Midwest summers where the air feels like it's sitting on your skin. Every evening, the street smelled like cut grass, cheap barbecue, and hot asphalt. We'd been dating for about 6 months and had fallen into this routine of late-night drives, cheap fast food, and sitting on the hood of my car under the stars. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt good. Simple. That night started out like any other. Kelly had texted me around 8, saying she was craving ice cream. There's this old-school ice cream truck that still drives around our town, which is kind of weird considering most people just go to Dairy Queen or grab pints from the grocery store. But this truck, this thing looked like it had survived the 1980s without being updated once. Chipped paint, hand-painted letters that read "Cold Treats," and a warped clown decal on the side. It was kind of creepy even in the daylight. But Kelly, being Kelly, thought it was retro cute. So when she said she wanted ice cream, I jokingly said, "Well, let's find your creepy clown truck." We drove around for about 15 minutes before we heard that music. You know the kind of tinny mechanical jingle ice cream trucks play, like some distorted nursery rhyme looping on repeat? Yeah, that sound. It always gave me chills as a kid, like there was something not quite right about it. It was faint at first, just floating through the humid night air, but we followed it through the neighborhood until we spotted the truck. It was parked at the end of a cul-de-sac, right under a flickering streetlight. "See?" Kelly said, smiling. "It's not creepy at all." But I wasn't so sure. The truck looked even worse up close. The white paint had gone yellow in spots, and there were scratches and dents all along the sides, like someone had taken a crowbar to it. The clown on the side was faded to the point where one of its eyes had disappeared. Kelly hopped out of the car before I could say anything. "Come on, I want a bomb pop." I reluctantly followed her. The ice cream man, or at least I think it was a man, was sitting inside. I couldn't really see his face at first because the interior lights were dim and his hat was pulled low. But the thing that stood out immediately was that he wasn't moving at all. He didn't turn when we approached, didn't even glance at us. He just stared straight ahead through the windshield like he was waiting for something. Hi," Kelly said. "Can we get a bomb pop and a Choco Taco?" No response. She gave me this look like, what's his deal? I was about to say something when the guy suddenly snapped his head toward us. Not like a casual turn, but like someone who'd just been shaken out of a trance. He grinned. I swear, I'll never forget that grin. It was too wide, stretching his cheeks like they were made of rubber. His teeth were yellowed, crooked, and way too big for his mouth. "Hot night, huh?" he said, his voice gravelly and slow. "Yeah," Kelly replied hesitantly. He leaned closer to the little sliding window, his face partially lit by the dim bulb inside the truck. His eyes were this washed-out blue, almost gray, and they didn't blink much. He handed her the bomb pop, then grabbed my Choco Taco. But when I reached for it, he didn't let go right away. "You two out on a date?" he asked, staring right at me. Yeah," I muttered. His grin widened even more. "Young love? Sweet." Something about the way he said it, drawn out, almost like he was savoring the words, made my stomach knot up. I pulled the ice cream out of his hand and gave Kelly a look like, "Let's get out of here." We walked back to the car. She was laughing like she thought I was overreacting. "What? Are you scared of the ice cream guy now?" But when I turned back to glance at the truck, the guy was still leaning out of the window, watching us. Not smiling, not moving, just watching. We drove to this little park nearby to eat our ice cream. It was around 9:30 by then, and the park was basically empty, except for a few people walking dogs. We sat on a bench near the playground, just talking and eating. About 15 minutes later, I heard something faint. That same jingle. Kelly noticed it too. "Huh, guess the ice cream guy's doing rounds here." But when I turned around, I saw the truck parked at the edge of the park. Engine off, lights off. He wasn't serving anyone, he was just there. I tried to play it cool, but my heart was pounding. Okay, that's kind of weird, right? He followed us. Kelly frowned. He's probably just driving his route. But the thing is, we weren't in a neighborhood anymore. This was a park off a back road. Why would an ice cream truck even be here late at night? We decided to leave. As we drove out of the park, I swear I saw the driver's silhouette shift like he was watching our car. About an hour later, we were parked in this quiet lot behind an old shopping center. It was our usual spot when we wanted to just hang out, talk, or, make out a little. The lot was empty, except for a couple of dumpsters and a few street lights buzzing overhead. We were mid-conversation. Kelly was talking about how she wanted to take a road trip before school started again, when I heard something, that jingle. My stomach dropped. Kelly paused, looking around. "No way, is that him again?" I turned toward the street, and sure enough, there it was. The same ice cream truck creeping down the road at like 5 miles per hour. "Okay, that's it. I'm leaving," I said, starting the car, but the truck slowed as it approached the lot. The driver turned his head toward us. Even from a distance, I could see that grin. I pulled out fast, maybe faster than I should have. Kelly was nervous now, too. "Matt, what the hell is going on? Why is he following us?" "I don't know, but we're not sticking around to find out," I said. We drove down the main road, taking random turns, trying to shake him. But every time I checked the rearview mirror, I saw those headlights, that boxy silhouette. The truck was following us, no question. At one point, I turned onto a side street, killed my headlights, and pulled into a driveway to hide. We sat there, holding our breath. The truck rolled by, slow as ever, the music still playing. We thought we lost him. But when I drove Kelly home around midnight, guess who was parked 2 blocks away? The ice cream truck, engine off, lights off, just sitting there. That was it for me. I called the cops. They said they'd send someone to check it out, but by the time a patrol car came, the truck was gone. I didn't see that truck for the rest of the summer, but Kelly swears she saw it once, parked near her job a few weeks later. To this day, I can't eat ice cream from a truck. Just the sound of that jingle makes my skin crawl. Sometimes I wonder what he wanted. Maybe nothing. Maybe he was just some weird guy trying to sell bomb pops. Or maybe he was looking for someone to take. My name's Rachel. This happened last summer, right after my 21st birthday. It was supposed to be one of those carefree nights, the kind you look back on years later and laugh about. Instead, it's one of those memories I try not to think about, because the more I do, the more I feel like we barely escaped something inhuman. It started with a date. Ethan, my boyfriend at the time, had this habit of driving aimlessly when we had no plans. We'd just get in his car, windows down, Summer air rushing in, music low, and see where the night took us. It was one of those perfect warm nights, the kind where the sky is still tinted orange from the sunset and everything feels alive with summer energy. We were halfway through the drive when we saw it. It was this massive house, set back from the road, way bigger than anything in our small town. A full-on mansion, the kind of place you only see in movies, with a winding driveway and a wrought iron gate, and there were lights, soft golden lights glowing through the windows, and music drifting faintly into the night. "Whoa, what is this?" Ethan said, slowing the car. I leaned forward, watching as a group of people walked through the gate. They were dressed fancy, like too fancy. Black dresses, white suits, all sleek and perfect. "Must be some rich kid's summer party," I guessed. Ethan grinned. "Wanna crash it?" Now, under normal circumstances, I'd say no. I'm not that bold. But the night felt too weirdly cinematic to pass up. We parked a little down the road and walked up. When we got to the gate, it was open. No security, no one checking names. The house loomed over us, its huge windows glowing like golden eyes. As we stepped onto the driveway, I noticed something strange. The people walking in weren't talking. I mean, not a word, no laughter, no casual party chatter, nothing. Just the shuffle of footsteps and the faint hum of music. "Okay, that's kind of weird, right?" I whispered. Ethan shrugged it off. "Maybe they're just chill." But it wasn't just that. Their movements were slow, too deliberate, like they were all walking in sync without realizing it. We followed the crowd in through the front door. The interior was stunning. Chandeliers, marble floors, these massive mirrors that reflected everything like a dream. But no one was speaking. There must have been at least 30 people in the main room, all holding champagne glasses, all just standing around. Some swayed slightly to the soft music, but no one said a word. I leaned toward Ethan. "This is freaking me out." He smiled nervously. "Maybe it's like a theme party, a silent rave or something?" But it wasn't a rave. It wasn't fun. It was suffocatingly quiet, except for that slow, haunting classical music coming from somewhere upstairs. Then I noticed something that made my skin crawl. About half the people were wearing masks, not party masks, not cute masquerade ball stuff. These were strange blank masks, white porcelain with no features except tiny slits for the eyes. I swear one of them was watching me. Even through the mask, I felt it. I grabbed Ethan's hand. "We should leave." He didn't argue. We turned to head out, but as we passed the staircase, something caught my eye. A figure standing perfectly still on the landing. A woman, or at least I think it was a woman, in a long black dress. She wasn't wearing a mask, but her face was pale, almost too pale. And her smile, it wasn't right. It was too wide. She didn't blink as we walked past. She just kept smiling, like she knew something we didn't. When we reached the front door, Ethan tried the handle. Locked. "What the hell?" he muttered, twisting the knob. We looked around. No one else seemed to notice or care that we were trying to leave. They just kept standing there, sipping their champagne, silently swaying to the music. That's when the music stopped. Dead silence. Every single person in the room turned their head toward us at the exact same time. I froze. My stomach dropped like I'd been plunged into ice water. Ethan grabbed my arm. "Back door," he whispered. We didn't wait for anyone to move. We bolted down the hallway, not even sure where we were going. The silence behind us was unbearable. I didn't dare look back. We found a side door by the kitchen. It opened, thank God. We sprinted across the driveway past the fancy cars lined up like props and didn't stop running until we were back in Ethan's car. When we looked back at the house, all the lights had gone out. We didn't talk the whole drive home. What was there to say? The next day, Ethan went back to see the house in the daylight. He swore up and down that it was gone. Not burned down, not abandoned, gone. Just an overgrown lot with a crumbling driveway and no sign that anyone had lived there in decades. I don't know what we stumbled into that night. Maybe it was some rich eccentric's idea of a twisted joke. Maybe it was something worse. But every now and then, I'll wake up in the middle of the night with the memory of those blank masks and that pale woman's smile. And I swear I can still hear the faint sound of music. My name's Jason, and I swear this story is 100% true. It happened last summer during one of those heat waves where even the nights feel like they're sweating. I was out with my girlfriend Lila, and we were both bored out of our minds. You know those summer nights where the whole town feels dead? No concerts, no parties, no one around? That's how it was. We'd already done our usual routine, grabbed fast food, drove around aimlessly, sat by the lake for a while. It was barely 10 p.m., but it felt like the night had already died. Lila, being the adventurous one, said, "Let's find something creepy to do." "Like what?" I asked, half laughing. "I don't know," she said, scrolling on her phone. "An abandoned place or something. Every town has one, right?" That's when I remembered the old Peterson house. The Peterson house is this ancient, rotting thing on the far edge of town. People say it's been empty for years, ever since the Petersons moved out or died, or whatever the story is now. Depending on who you ask, it's haunted, cursed, or just fallen apart. The house sits at the end of a gravel road with no streetlights, surrounded by tall weeds and a sagging fence. I'd never actually been inside, but when I was younger, kids used to dare each other to run up to the porch and touch the front door. So, of course, Lila's eyes lit up when I mentioned it. "Perfect," she said, grinning. "Let's check it out. Maybe we'll see a ghost." We got there around 10:30 p.m. The sky was dark but clear, with the moon spilling enough light to see the outline of the house. It looked worse than I remembered. The paint was peeling in long, curling strips, and the windows were like black, hollow eyes. "Creepy enough for you?" I joked, trying to mask my unease. She smirked. "Come on, let's look inside." The front gate was already hanging open, so we didn't even have to climb over. The gravel crunched under our shoes as we walked up the path, and I swear every step made the house feel bigger, like it was leaning toward us. The front door wasn't locked. It creaked open with the slow, heavy sound you only hear in horror movies. "Hello?" Lila called out jokingly. I elbowed her. "Don't do that. Don't start stuff." She laughed and stepped inside. I followed, but immediately regretted it. The air inside was thick, like dust mixed with something sour like old garbage. The floorboards groaned under our weight. There was furniture still there, which surprised me. A couch covered in a yellowed sheet, a coffee table with an old newspaper stuck to it, and family photos on the walls. That's when I realized something. "This place doesn't look abandoned," I said. Lila turned to me. "What do you mean?" "The furniture, the photos. Look." I pointed to a calendar on the wall. It wasn't faded. The year on it was this year. Before she could respond, we heard it. A thump from upstairs. We both froze. Probably an animal, Lila whispered, but even she didn't sound convinced. I grabbed her hand. We should go. But then curiosity got the better of her. Of course it did. What if someone actually lives here? Maybe they're squatting. Let's just check. I didn't want to. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but I followed her to the staircase anyway, each step creaking like a warning. The upstairs hallway was lined with more photos, but they were strange. Every single photo was of the same man, taken from different angles in different clothes, but always with the same blank expression. In some, he was sitting in a chair. In others, standing in a corner of what looked like this very house. Okay, this is officially creepy, I muttered. Lila was about to open the first door on the left when we heard another noise. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps coming from the end of the hallway. I don't think I've ever moved faster in my life. We bolted down the stairs, nearly tripping over each other, and slammed through the front door. We didn't stop running until we were back at the car. Lila was laughing nervously like it was all some wild adventure, but I wasn't laughing, because when I looked back at the house, I saw something that chilled me to my bones. The porch light was on. It hadn't been on when we got there, and in the upstairs window, there was someone standing there just watching us. We sped out of there so fast I'm surprised we didn't blow a tire. Neither of us said a word until we got back into town. Maybe it wasn't abandoned, Lila finally said. Yeah, I muttered, but if someone lives there, they don't want visitors. Later, I checked online to see if the Peterson house was even still listed as abandoned. I couldn't find a thing about it. No sale records, no history, nothing. I still drive past that road sometimes. The house is always dark, always quiet, but every now and then, I swear, I see the porch light flicker on, and I know deep down that we were in the wrong house that night.